Welcome to SoundBreaker. Today we're talking to Neil Sheehan, who is the president and founder of Vocana. Neil, thank you for joining us today on SoundBreaker.
Thank you.
And for our listeners who might not be familiar with you, if you don't mind, give us a quick introduction before we really dive into it and know about Neil, Vocana, and this whole journey of yours in the music industry.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I'm 52. I started in the music business when I was 21. I actually got started in college being a turntable DJ, and then when I came out of college, I started my first company, kind of running a concert promotion firm and a management firm and a couple studios. It broke into then selling that into running a record label, independent record label that I started, and then selling that, helping a live streaming company get acquired fairly quickly during COVID. And then about 4 years ago, I got hired to run Vocana. So I'm not a founder. I'm just the president. There are two founders. But yeah, it's there's some of it that's my baby as well.
Well, you know what? It's a teamwork. It takes a team
Exactly.
to make. Yes, it's a teamwork.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So pretty interesting. So yes, you gave us a quick run
Yeah.
on your kind of past and what got you here. Um, and you probably had a lot of should I say during your journey or on the way to where you are now, quite a few stops in the music business. If you want to share some of those, and then we're going to talk about Vocana and the industry and where's it going, artists and everything, distribution, obviously, on
Yeah.
the mind of every person in the music business.
Yeah, like I said, when I came out of college, I had been DJing in college. I'm dating myself here, but it was the mid '90s. I learned how to turntable DJ in college. So when I came out of college, I had never played an instrument really, but I was obviously a music aficionado. I liked to turntable DJ, and I would go to live shows. And I started running concerts legitimately out of my attic. It was the first business I ever started with about $900 to my name. And I would just book local bands in VFW halls and charge $5 at a VFW hall. And you'd get the most shitty metal and punk bands you could find that didn't have, that couldn't get booked anywhere else, but had a small fan base. And it quickly blossomed within 6 to 7 months, where I had almost 12 booking agents working for me. There were such a groundswell of these what you call DIY garage bands, right? And none of them could break into the local venues at that point. So we became this kind of incubator, essentially, for these smaller artists. And I think we just hit a perfect time when digital downloads and streaming became prevalent. You had LimeWire and Napster, so there were more of these
You're
bands being
talking
out.
about early 2000s, am I
Yeah,
right? Yes,
yeah.
yes, early, like
Um,
2001.
Yeah, so you could at that point you could be a garage band and get your music out to people without traditional brick and mortar distribution. So there were a lot of these bands and they wanted to play. So we just started my concert promotion company just started booking local venues at that point. These bands were getting big enough, and we at that point had a roster in the Midwest of just booking bands in a 50-room cap all the way to a 5,000 cap room if we needed to rent out a then Clear Channel before they became Live Nation venue. So for a good 2 years or so, we were booking hundreds of shows a year across the continental United States. And most of those bands didn't have any help, right? They weren't managed. They didn't know how to get a deal if they wanted one. They didn't know how to book a tour. So we started getting asked by some of these bands if we would manage them. So we didn't know anything about concert promotion, and we didn't know anything about uh, management, but we had started a concert promotion firm and done well. So why wouldn't we try management? So we took on a few clients as managers. And again, within a few years, next thing you know, we have 17 record deals. So it was all just by happenstance. The first iteration of this became learning the hard way, taking the hard knocks, working with local bands, getting them shows, then managing their careers, getting them on tour, getting them merch, then getting them record deals. And then most of these bands, again, were then trying to find studios. So instead of us spending or having them spend a buttload of money on studios, we opened 2 recording studios. So for about a 9-year period from 2001 to 2008-9, I truly can say, we were this incubator. Independent bands that were either on an independent label, or ones that were literally starting in their garage could come to us. And at that point, by the end 2009, they could book one-off show, they could book a full tour, they could get shopped to a record label, we could manage their career if they were on a record label, or they could just come to the studio, cut a demo, cut an album, or whatever. So that was essentially my jump into the music business before I started a record label.
Which some of the bands that you worked like that really kind of blossomed to something big?
Yeah, so on the management side, we got lucky in terms of the hot bands of the day were kind of Warped Tour style bands. If you went into Hot Topic and you wanted a black T-shirt and you had an angsty teenage son or daughter, and they liked this metalcore stuff and pop punk stuff, so some of the bands we worked with were Beneath the Sky, Driver's Side Impact, Forever and Terror, all kind of Warped Tour metal bands that were on metal festivals and things like that. Nothing that was cracking the top 10 of Billboard, but they were in the independent Billboard, right? So it was a very niche market for us, but it was a niche market that was making millions of dollars, obviously, for the Vans Warped Tour kind of crowd of that time.
Interesting.
So after the management, I essentially got approached by Sony in 2009 when they had Red distribution. Red was kind of their independent distribution, and CDs were still kind of in play at that point. And
I think Alan Becker is still there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they came to me and essentially said, "Look, you've signed a bunch of bands to a bunch of record labels that have Red. We know you book a bunch of our bands on tours. The only thing you don't have is a distribution deal and to start a label. And I think since we had this penchant for a certain type of genre or a certain few different genres, and it was hot at the time." They just said, "Hey, we'll give you distribution if you want to start something." So I sold part of my management and concert promotion company, kept some of my employees, and then we started a label called Standby Records in 2009, kind of garnering the attention of that larger Warped Tour fan base, metal, punk, some indie rock, and that ran until 2020. We were fortunate enough where we hit where as they say, lightning strikes. We found a band in Cincinnati called Black Veil Brides, which were essentially if you're not familiar with the band, they're kind of a Motley Crue, a Kiss looking. They wore makeup at the time, but they kind of took off, right? We were selling 40,000 T-shirts a month out of Hot Topic. They went number 1 on Billboard Independent. They went number 11 on Billboard. So once we had that type of band and that fan base, the gates kind of opened. We started signing a lot more of those type of bands. We had a huge fan base to market to. And then COVID hit, right? 2020 hit, and a lot of the major labels and publishing companies at the time were fearful of what happened during COVID. So they were all about buying masters and publishing catalogs. So I sold a few masters during COVID. And I basically shuttered the label at that point because it was COVID. And I got hired by a live streaming company very, very quickly and helped them get acquired over 11th month period.
Which one? If you don't mind, if you could share.
Yeah, it's called My Songbird. It was that came about when obviously COVID had hit. I had left Standby, and everybody was trying to do virtual concerts because they had no idea where the concert world would go. And the founder had an idea of instead of just shooting a concert head on with one camera, he was going to do multiple camera angles. And the person watching could actually switch camera angles while you're watching live. So as soon as I got in there, we ran a few different concerts, and then somebody approached him about being acquired. A guy that was part of a BBC affiliate, and he was a founder ready to sell. So he sold. So I was only there for about 11 months, and then I got the call for Vocana about 4 years ago.
Oh, and you know the streaming business was skyrocketing, rocketing in during COVID. You know,
Yes. Yep.
business was booming. You know,
Hmm.
anything digital, anything digital was booming. I think during COVID. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a curse and a blessing, and a blessing in certain ways for the digital business in general.
Yeah, it made people think forward, right? Like music was never going to go away, but music is a better experience when shared. And I think people realized that when you couldn't do live or virtual concerts well, you couldn't quantify how many tickets were being sold. Even if you booked, I don't know, the Beatles, you didn't know how many people were really going to buy an online ticket and watch it on video. And people were just clamoring for something new. Um, so streaming kind of took off in terms of the audio. And then when they opened up the gates to allow live shows back, I think people realized, that that was the next market that was going to explode after COVID because everybody's ready to go back outside and see shows.
Yes, and innovation went really skyrocketing as far
Yeah.
as tech innovations, and AI was actually being worked on,
Hmm.
and it even pushed it faster. You know,
For sure.
amazing, really amazing journey. So let's talk about you know, your recent venture that you run the show there
Yeah.
at Vocona. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's the let's talk about Vocona, and really how do you see it changing certain things and influencing the market and the music business and all that?
Sure. I'll give you the genesis of how this happened. I had just helped this live streaming company get acquired, and I got a call from an executive recruiter, and they were looking for somebody to help launch a independent streaming music platform. I didn't know what that was. They asked if I would take the call. I'll talk to anybody, and I said sure. So the two founders essentially run their own verticals. They are not in the music business, but they would go to live shows, live music aficionados, and they would see tip jars on a stage, and they were like, "What the hell? Why are there tip jars on a stage?" Thinking artists make money off of streaming, right? Like, why would you need this? So after them talking to several artists were like, "Well, we don't get paid very well with streaming, so we have to have a tip jar." So these two entrepreneurs said, hey, we built businesses. Why couldn't we build our own kind of indie streaming platform? So that was kind of the genesis of it. And they had tried a small iteration of it before I came on board. They had put together a small little DSP themselves. I came on board and told them, if you're going to build a business, you better have solutions to problems. And if you're really going to pay if one of the solutions is to pay bands better, you better have some other problems that you can solve as well. So my general thesis was there's four problems that the independent musician has. Yes, fair pay. If somebody could do a true user-centric system versus pro rata, that would be great. Not artist-centric like Deezer or user-centric like SoundCloud. A true art user-centric where if you have $10, you pay your subscription, you can listen to all the music you want, but your dollars literally go to the bands you listen to. So if you listen to five bands, your $10 gets split five ways, $2 to each band. The second problem was data. Most of these bands get no data. They open up their analytics page on a DSP and they may get a heat map, which doesn't really tell them who their listeners are. We give first person data back. So anytime you stream a band, the artist can see who you are, message you, or even email you. So now a band knows every single person that ever streams them. The third, you know, problem we wanted to solve was kind of the unfair competition. Most of these DSPs, you try to get on playlists, right? And to get on a playlist, it's heavily editorialized. There's people behind it, and even if you get on it, the odds of staying on it are difficult. So we thought if we were going to be independent friendly, we better just license content from all independent distributors. So CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, etc., like that. So anytime somebody does get on a playlist or somebody shares music, It's almost always discovery, right? These are bands that are not known, and the algorithm is never going to favor somebody from a major label. And then the fourth problem we thought was music's become fairly boring. You have Spotify on one page, and then you do multiple other things. And we said there used to be a platform called MySpace, and MySpace had an artist profile and a fan profile, and there was a streaming platform, and you stayed in this flywheel. So we were like, why shouldn't that be rebuilt in some form or fashion to keep everybody in one spot? So that was those were my marching orders. Go solve those four problems, and that was 4 years ago. So we went out and hired a CFO, a CTO. We have sent some devs, obviously, marketing people, product people, and we started doing licensing deals. So right now we already have 50 million tracks. We have 2 million artists. And we're in public beta, and it's been out about 8-10 weeks in public beta, and we'll probably do a full launch sometime in Q1 or Q2 of next year with the subscription service.
Wow. So basically focused on a lot of indie artists, indie bands, correct?
Yeah, all independent catalogs. So what you would, I think the major DSPs have 200 million tracks or something like that right now. We'll have at least 100 to 120 million songs because we won't have the major label stuff, but we'll have all independents, and they'll be propped up and better discovered than they would be on another DSP.
So what, beside the independent artists, what other features you guys gonna have in the platform that gonna be a little bit different?
I think for the artists, it's the user-centric payment is the key, right? You're going to make way more on our platform than the 0.0003 cents that you would make anywhere else. The data coming back to the artist is key as well. But for the fan, if you can remember the MySpace days, the key features here are now two profile pages can interact. So if I, Neil Sheehan, the band, are talking to Bob, who is the fan, we can now comment, talk to each other, message each other, share music, do things one-on-one versus having to send somebody to a link tree. If Bob's the artist, he usually has a link tree, and he's sending me to 5 other places versus now you've kept me in one place. And we've also, taken some of the best of social media and put it all in one place. We have short form video like TikTok has. We call those moments. We have a live streaming feature. So just like you and I are live streaming, you can live stream. So I think some of those are the unique differentiators. It's really what's driving a fan to want more interaction with a band that they can have, and what can you give a band that makes them stay on a platform and know who their fans are. So those are the two biggest.
What about the short form content? What is it? What is it based on the short form content?
It's just like TikTok. You can open up your camera, videotape me or you talking, and then post it up on our site.
So basically, is that for the fan or for the bands? They could create their
For
own
both.
for both. So I
Yep.
could go there and just create any type of videos. In a
It's
way.
like Instagram Reels or TikTok. A band can do
Okay.
it. You can do it. It posts on your page, and then it posts in a feed.
But for
So
a
if you
streaming platform, which is nobody really has it.
correct, right?
Yes, where you can listen. Okay,
Yep.
can you? So music videos is allowed there, correct? Somebody put their music video.
Yeah, so there are video pages on every band's profile as well. If they want to upload their full music video, they can do that as well. We don't monetize that like YouTube would, but the short form content is what it is. It's short form, 30, 60-second clip of you or you promoting yourself or whatever that you would do on Instagram Reels or Facebook Story or TikTok.
And the platform is not 100% up yet, or is it?
Yeah, it's up. It's we're in public beta. It's in the iOS store. It's in the Google App Store or the Google Play Store. You can get on it now. We have about 550 users in there right now. Again, we haven't done any marketing. It's all just been based on word of mouth and us talking to all the licensors that we have. Like I said, we've done deals with CD Baby and DistroKid and a bunch of other ones. So a lot of those places have given us some of the highline artists they want us to prop up in some playlists. So we have done that.
Is it genre open, or is it just genre specific? You're focusing on anything but indie. You don't want majors. You want indie artists.
Yep, correct. It's all any genre that has independent music. So you can search our new releases by any genre you want. November 17th, we have a new release coming out, an update to the app where you can now search all of our music by genre instead of just new releases. So um, I also won't say major label content won't be on there. We are not going out to service the major labels, but there are plenty of major label artists that have now gone independent. So like we have Snoop Dogg on there, and other bands are on there that have left the major label system. So you will find some of your favorite artists that you may have think are major label artists, but are now obviously independent.
But the artists get paid directly.
User-centric, correct.
Yeah,
So if
user-centric.
they're
That's what you focus on.
correct,
Mhm.
yeah.
And is the followers able to monetize in any other way, any ways in it, like with the artist? Is there any monetization for users beside the artists themselves?
For right now on our roadmap, it's just the artists. We will probably do some kind of gamification where fans can essentially get some type of remuneration, whether that's monetary or merch or awards from a band, concert tickets, things like that. But it's not in our first quarter roadmap of next year.
AI generated content, music.
Yeah, look, I think we don't have a way to stop that because
No, we're not saying. I mean, but there
yeah,
is, there because the number one, what is it, country music
yeah,
on the charts is AI, which is nothing wrong
yeah,
with it. I mean, it didn't create itself. Obviously, there's a talent behind it, a producer, created
sure.
somebody who really put the whole thing idea together. Yeah.
Yeah, we get our feeds directly from the distributor. So if CD Baby has AI content, we get that in. The argument I make against AI is it it can hurt DSPs, right? Does it hurt Vocana? I say no because we pay user centric. So in a pro rata model like Spotify, if I am an AI created artist and I run 1,000 bots and play that thing a billion times, I then take market share away from an artist. However, with user centric, you can't game that. You would have to buy a bot and pay the subscription fee, and the most you can extricate from the subscription fee is the $10. So you'd have to buy thousands of bots at $10 and then actually just stream your band, and it wouldn't take away from anybody else's market share. You're literally just using the bot to play your music to get the $10. So if somebody does come across an AI song and they've used part of their subscription money to listen to that one band, well, then that AI artist should essentially get paid, right? Like
Yes,
you can't
absolutely.
you
Whoever
can't game it.
the provider. Yes.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
we're fortunate that it's taken a few years to build because the narrative now, especially for distributors, has been they are getting penalized not only for AI but for bots and fraud.
Well,
And
not AI.
users,
I think just the bot thing, but it's
yeah,
still it's not really done properly. Good thing that you bring
yeah,
that up because I seen somebody made a comment on it. It's like, wait a second, why would I get a bot to stream 600 or 1,000 times the song and I create the whole calculation and setup. It doesn't make sense,
yeah,
and people being penalized wrongly. I
yeah.
have to say, really. And it's kind of like, is it a mistake? Is the system not working right? Or is it an excuse?
Yeah, again, for us, it's we're lucky that user centric stops it, right? Like if somebody wants to buy 10,000 subscriptions and pay the $10,
Good for you.
it's good for us and good for the whoever they're streaming, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's going to that one artist. It's not
Yeah.
taking away market share from somebody else. So
Both made money, the artist and the platform.
correct. So go
Yeah.
ahead and buy your bots and listen to the song you want. It's not hurting anybody else.
Mm. What about blockchain? Do you see your platform kind of connecting with the blockchain and be part of that?
We've been asked. I obviously go and speak at music conferences every year, and I've been approached by a couple different blockchain places about setting up some way to either tokenize it or something. And I, I just don't know. Right? We're in this post 4 year period of building all of this, and our roadmap already has a certain set of features that I think we want to go test first make sure that we can pay artists fairly, get them the data, and the app doesn't break, right? And fans have a good time. And that at some point that becomes an iteration or something that we need to lean into, we probably would. But at this point, I think that we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. We'll keep it that simple.
But it's not off the table, which is a good thing.
No, for sure. Not at all.
Yes, absolutely. Great.
I mean, if you really think of the definition of independence, and if we're going to be an independent streaming platform, you at some point probably have to offer some form of that, right? Because people want to have that blockchain experience to become independent. So I just think it's not one of our first iterations.
Great. Amazing. Really amazing. I'm glad to see somebody doing something a bit different and, an artist centric and more, well, you could say user centric, but definitely artists. It's based on, artists get paid. And that's the problem. A lot of the current establishment or the current traditional ways of doing things is no longer, making anybody happy. As you said, artists have tip jobs, and that's kind of sad to see that. Why would artists,
Yeah.
they get tip jobs? They should be making money actually from streaming, but the way it's set up, it just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make a lot of the independent labels or artists or the independent distributors, that they always started to base their business more on quantity than quality. Yeah, because they say the more we have and the more we can gather. We're dealing with pennies on the dollar, with pennies on the penny.
Yeah. Well, I think it all, there was this idea when the Napsters and the LimeWires came out that the majors knew that there was going to be some kind of streaming service, right? And I think it was a knee-jerk reaction of what can we do quickly? And Spotify was the leader in coming up with, at least being somewhat compliant and not just letting people upload stuff. And the majors made deals with Spotify, which at the time was smart, but streaming essentially at the beginning was supposed to democratize the way you could get music. And it did at the very beginning, right? Like you used to have a distributor or even a rack jobber to get into, retail.
I haven't heard that word for a long time.
Yeah, right?
A lot of people don't know what it means.
Rack jobbers. Rack jobbers are like independent distributors that would put stuff on the end of end caps in Best Buy. Yeah. But that said, it's, it was like now anybody can get their music listened, but it doesn't become a democracy when you're uploading 130,000 new songs a day, and the algorithm is always going to only propagate the top 4 or 5 million songs, right? At that point, there's no, for sure it's not. So I think now with the maturation period of streaming, and we've seen the bad side of it, this is where the bifurcation comes, where there's going to be other players like us or other kind of streaming services that try to do something a little different to go back to where it was, where independents have their own way to distribute it and get their fans and make money without having to play into the major label system, which streaming unfortunately has become.
Yes, 100%. I agree. I mean, the born of TikTok really kind of changed a lot of things. But something you spoke about in your platform, which called the experience, creating the viral moments and experience. That's something I say the music business or some of the music distribution outlets to the public never focused on.
Yeah.
Just no need for that. Just press and play. That's all you need, Instead of taking a CD and plug it in, now you just press and play. You don't need to buy these tools. Just pay for subscription. But what TikTok allowed is the follower to become a creator, the fan be a creator themselves, and so many great talent were born. A lot of new songs came on board. A lot of songs became viral and they were nothing. A lot of old songs were bought from the dead. Created the sharing, the fun aspects of the music business, and how creative can we go with it, the sounds that came with it, the certain things. So that kind of gave a taste of what experience meant in the music business, and nobody did anything about it. I mean, TikTok kept leading, and sure, you got Instagram Reels copy of TikTok, but kind of, say, hey, you know what, let me jump on the bandwagon. But nobody said, hey, let's kind of start innovating technologically and think about the future. What can we do? Because this is important, something that we really never paid attention to. So let's talk about the future. But then they got a company like Sono and Sora too they say, hey, are we going to take this to another level? We're going to take the whole experience, the whole social, the whole sharing, the whole music, the whole creation, the whole metaverse.
Yeah.
We're going to combine it all and take it to another. And they're doing it. They're actually doing it. There
Yeah.
will be these platforms. I think Hooks and Sora 2 will be free platforms to use and make it available for everybody. Because I see metaverse or virtual immersive technology. That's part of it. It has to be part of the future. How do we listen and how we interact and how we create and participate? Participation is a major, major thing that really nobody kind of paid attention to. But the gaming business, I would say, were leaders of that.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I think music is better experienced when shared, and however you share that experience, whether it be virtually in a metaverse or whether you're at a concert or you're in a chat with somebody on a comment section, it's way better than just being this lean back experience where you press play and then you're not even paying attention. It just becomes background music. I think you're right. I think that the future will be more interaction between not only fan to fan but fan to band. And with the way AI is leading, it looks like at some point the creator will assist the band in making money at some point by recreating some remix of their song, as long as it could be done ethically and the band is being paid as well. I worry past that problem where it looks like they're going to try to figure out how to pay these artists, but at some point, if you fast forward 10 plus years from them, let's just say an artist makes money from a song that a creator mixed. At what point does the creator then go, hey, wait a sec, I should have been making money on that because I assisted you in that in some form or
Well, I
fashion?
think it
So,
will be. I think they're
yeah,
gonna. I think this will be part of the new wave of monetization. The way the
yeah,
creator also everybody makes money. The original artist makes money, and the creator gets compensated.
yeah.
Yes,
And
in some kind of a ecosystem way that kind of would work. Would blockchain be involved? I would say at a point in time it will be. Yes, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. People are doing it now. And the companies that are leading are cutting deals like the deal that just got cut with Universal, I think, last week with who was it, Suno or Udio or one of those. Yeah. So I mean, it's
But they're making the deals. Even Sono making the deal with Warner and Universal.
yeah,
Even Sora 2 making the deal. And these going to be the platforms. They
yeah.
will turn to the new worlds, maybe, the new platforms. I don't know what they call them. There'll be a name for it.
Yeah.
But amazing. I have to say, Neil, an interesting journey, my friend. Really an interesting
Thank you very
journey.
much.
You're an interesting guy. Down to earth, I have to say, very humble. And I guess you did it with passion and love and stride. Amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's I did not come out of college thinking I was going to be A, in the music business, B, make a career in it, or C, run a company that was music focused. So here I am at 51, 52, and it's been fantastic.
What's your advice for others who really will gonna inspired by you, will be inspired by you, and who are carving their way into the music business? And is it the right time? Is it the wrong time? Is things gonna be different?
Yeah, I'll take the first part of that. I think a lot of people that get into the music business have imposter syndrome because there's not a lot of people that can mentor you. I think you just have to have a lot of trial and error. And once you get to a certain level, you think, should I really be here? Or am I doing this correct? Because it's not like if you're an accountant and you become a CPA and you can watch other accountants and you can say, okay, I'm following this path. Music's much different, especially in the career side. What I have learned is networking is your friend, and saying thank you is the best thing you can do to anybody in the music industry, because whether that person is going up or whether that person is going down in their career, you never know in music where they're going to be next. Because I've talked to people that have dropped to the bottom of the basement, and then next thing you know, they're at the top again. So be thankful for any opportunity that you get, whether it's a local venue, to a local booking agent, to a major label that made you an offer. Thank them, and try to stay in contact with them, because that alone will allow you to get your name out there. People remember a thank you versus somebody slamming a phone down. You will never get that call back. You can burn a lot of bridges very quickly in this industry. The second part, will things be different? Yeah. I mean, you and I were just obviously talking about this. I never imagined when I started booking shows via web pages and email that I would be, chatting with bands on Instagram or listening to, Spotify. Those were not, things that I ever thought would happen. So
wasn't on part of the playbook back then.
yeah, exactly. And, the music business reinvents itself over and over.
Always, yes. And right now we will. It's going
Yeah.
through that period again, because the streaming and download been around for how long? 20-something years.
Yeah.
So there's an era, and and it serves every technology, every era. It serves it. It served its purpose.
Yeah. And one of the bigger things I've learned on at least on the tech side of music is that you cannot stop progress. No matter how hard you try or put a law against it or try to do something, somewhere, some way, someone's going to figure out a way to disseminate music, make music, and monetize music, whether that be legal or illegal. It's going to keep going.
Amazing. Well, before we say goodbye, what to look for next for you guys?
Yeah, we have an update to our app coming out in, looking at my calendar, 4 days. So we try to do releases every month, push so you get a new version of the app with new features. And then we will do a launch with subscription. Right now it's free. It's in public beta, so anybody can get on it, listen to your music, claim your profile page. If you're an artist, come claim your artist page. But probably in Q1 or Q2 next year, you'll start seeing a lot more marketing, and people will be able to actually subscribe to the service. And bands at that point will start seeing their user-centric payments coming in.
Amazing. Well, Neil, it was definitely a pleasure having you on the show, my friend.
Thank you so much.
I truly enjoyed it. Interesting journey, and inspiring, and I would say insightful. Very
Awesome.
Insightful. Yes. And great platform. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank
And
you so
definitely
much.
will be in touch more, because I'm a big fan of new innovations and ways to kind of empower the industry, empower the independent from artists and business side of it.
Yeah, we definitely want feedback. We want artists to feel they have some ownership of a platform versus these
Yes.
other ones that are kind of arbitrary and a stockholder is running it versus the artist. So we're taking all feedback seriously.
Absolutely. Well, for our audience also, please make sure to follow us on socials and stay tuned for our new episode. Neil, thanks again, my friend. Appreciate it, and thanks for the time.
Thanks, Bob.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share the SoundBreaker podcast. And if you are joining us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.